Yeah. We usually start with Barag making some sort of noise. This time it was our cleric, Talvis, aka Sean, mulling over his final spell.
Yeah.
You look like you're in anguish.
It's like anguish
is,
is probably the word, mental anguish.
Yeah.
It will
But that's the
be
life.
over in just a second, though.
That's the life of a magic user.
I'm shuffling those spells and picking one. Literally, because like there isn't any like great choice as far as which ones I have to not have prepared. So
yeah.
So let's see.
I can't believe you're leaving this a chance.
Oh, okay.
All right. I like it. Okay.
That's a good one.
All right, so we are back with episode number 15 of the story thus far. Big 1-5, guys.
It's crazy that
yeah. Legally, in some states, we could drive with a permit.
That's right.
15.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go really, really kind of quick into this because there's a lot to do. We have our Instagram.
It's at @the_story_thus_far. Give us a like, thumbs up, follow, and then also the links to the episodes will be on that Instagram account.
Awesome. And Sean.
The email is storythusfar@yahoo.com.
Yeah. And that is, I think, all that we have. So let's just jump right into this, guys. The story thus far, we're on episode 15. Daedalus, Terra, Barag, and Talvis, the part-time heroes, part-time mercenary group known as Valor's Ransom. You guys have made it back to the Alderman Wolster, and every minute that ticks away brings you closer to Talos' emergence onto the material plane. Talvis and Terra, you make the stable boy extremely happy with generous tips and thanks when you return to the Alderman Wolster. Terra, you briefly speak to Hisak Metal River, the dwarf weaponsmith, in reference to weaponizing your crystal shard. And he directs you to the Sword Coast to seek the services of a guild called the Omnia Continuum, a guild of what would be the greatest crafters in the material plane. Talvis, you went to the small temple of Hestia, and as you prayed to Hestia, you received a gift, a blessing, in the form of a war horn called the Battle Hymn of Hestia. And you feel, due to your connection to divinity, that this was given to you to use only when the time is right, when you're in most need of Hestia's aid. Daedalus, you are paid a visit by none other than the ancient hag, Auntie Ethel Irontooth. After she kind of creeps into your tent at night, she tells you that by telling your companions about the machinations of the Grim Shadow Coven, a coven, by the way, Daedalus, that you have bonded your soul to, she tells you that you betrayed them, and for that, someone else would have to pay for your transgressions. Daedalus, you and Milcune walk around the camp as you had so many thoughts running through your head. Despite your situation, despite how compromised you have become and how much you've lost and still stand to lose, this time spent with Milcune only reinforces one thing in the mind of Daedalus Hartwell. It was totally worth it. So later on that night, as Milcune and Danzin were practicing at the stables, Danzin was struck with a curse and blinded and rendered comatose. Everyone sprung into action. Barag and Daedalus, you searched the camp to no avail. And even the half-ogre, he actually helped with the search just on the outskirts of the village, the swamp village. Terra, as you choked back tears and as well as you could, all you could do was comfort your little brother. Talvis does what Talvis does. You use your faith-based abilities, Talvis, and you summoned a shower of divine energy and You were able to break his catatonic state. However, the damage had already been done. His vision decimated. His world, complete darkness. As if that weren't enough to contend with, Borgu, which is Rory's woolly mammoth mount, returned with Rorander Rory Truthbrow limply hanging by his wrist from the saddle of the mighty woolly mammoth, and barely hanging on to life. He manages to tell you as he comes to, Praetor Zainda Zane, conqueror and religious zealot of Talos, the Three-Bolt King, is not on the way to the temple ruins. They are in fact already there. You all wake the next morning with 8 days and several hours left on the clock. Valor, Ransom, what would you like to do?
Is it the next morning?
It is the next morning.
Okay, so my spells are prepared.
First on the agenda, bookkeeping.
Yeah.
No, that's fair.
So I'm sleeping in the temple, so I'd like to, once I wake up, just head outside and see what I can see what's going on.
It's, again, all hands on deck. You see, the crafters are crafting. You do see the matron and patron of the High Hill clan. They're serving meals, hot meals to refugees from the Alderman and Worcester. And yeah, everybody's just kind of buzzing around and trying to craft as quickly as possible with these 8 days that are left.
Do I see the guy, was it the half ogre gentleman? Is that what he was? That came in and was kind of just looming everywhere, not really talking to anybody?
You don't see him, and he doesn't normally come into the village. Even in a village of half-breeds and outsiders, he kind of even feels like an outsider to the village.
Okay.
He actually tends to keep just on the outskirts where he can kind of keep an eye, but not kind of bother anybody with his presence.
Okay.
Half-ogres are notorious for their temper, and you know that he's probably not an exception.
Okay. Then I'd like to head over to wherever I see Terra's family, if I do see them.
Yeah, you see them. They're serving up hot meals.
Okay.
Ulud Ramir, the elven scholar, is there, and she's grabbing a meal as well.
Okay. So I'd like to sit down with them and just have some breakfast.
Okay.
And also see if I notice Terra's brother, who's blinded, if I see him in the area at all.
You don't see him in the immediate area, but you can certainly look around. After breakfast or before?
I'll wait till after.
Sure. So the High Hill, Ma High Hill and Pa High Hill greet you. Their eyes kind of light up as soon as they see you. You've done the High Hill clan a great service on more than one occasion. So as rationed as meals are, Talvis gets a little extra.
Drive it straight in.
And so Ma High Hill's like, don't tell anybody, and she kind of winks.
I'll just wink back at her. It's
All
nice to have something other than alligator steak for once.
It's good halfling food.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a mushroom dish made from a lot of the mushrooms that grow locally and wild, and it's amazing.
So they've been gathering stuff
Yeah.
to make food.
Mm-hmm. A lot of the smaller races that don't craft, a lot of the gnomes and halflings, they actually go out and they'll gather things to eat. So greens and mushrooms, things like that.
Cool.
But they kind of stay close to the edge of the village, so they don't go too far out. Anybody else?
I believe I am still in the halfling home, right?
The halfling home is what used to be Johan's old cottage.
Okay. And is my brother there with me, or is he?
You wake up, you see Davrick, who's sleeping on his stomach. His butt is kind of up in the air, and he's just snoring. It was a late night for everybody in the High Hill household. And in fact, most people were buzzing about what happened to Danzin last night. But he didn't get much sleep. So the little sleep he is getting, it's hard sleep. I mean, he is snoring. He's sawing logs right now. Your parents are out, and you can kind of smell, breakfast cooking. So you believe that they're probably out there cooking, but you don't see Danzin anywhere.
And I'm gonna step out and see if I can see Rory.
Okay. As you step out of the cottage, you do see Rory. You see Rory and you see Danzin. And Rory is on his knees, and he's got he's huge. He's about 7 foot tall, and he's wide. He's just all muscle. There's no fat on this half orc. Even on his knees, he's still much taller than you. He's an imposing figure. And you do see him on his knees, and he's kind of in a meditative state. And then you see your brother, who's probably about 3 feet in front of him, also on his knees, and he's got his eyes closed. And you see him, twitch every once in a while, and whenever he twitches, you see Rory just kind of shush him for a quick second, and then they just continue silently.
I'm gonna let them be because of meditating and all that. So I'm gonna actually go and get breakfast and sit next to Talvis and.
Okay. You see the regulars. You do see Ulu, which you haven't seen in a while. She's actually been very busy going over a lot of the data that she collected from the temple. But yeah, so you grab a plate. As much as your parents love you, the pile of food on your plate isn't as much as it was on Talvis's plate.
I'm gonna kind of look at my mom and just go, and with my arms up a little bit.
We're conserving, dear. Everybody's got to play their part.
Yeah, conserving as I'm finishing.
Yeah. So, Daedalus.
I wake up and I assume I was back in the tent, so I'm going to come out. And I'm just going to head to the chow line too.
Yeah, you wake up. And you've all had nightmares. I'm going to say one more evening, and you guys all suffer a level of exhaustion.
Aww.
Except for Daedalus Hartwell. You kind of find these things that used to bother you. Don't really bother you as much. You used to have horrible, horrible nightmares. Now it just seems kind of commonplace, almost expected. If you were to go through a whole night's sleep without horrible, horrible visions, that would almost bother you. So you feel very well rested, unlike your 3 compatriots who come out of their tents and their domiciles with just like half moons under their eyes, looking still very exhausted. But you look relatively well rested. The iron nails sticking out of your gums have kind of healed over as much as they ever will. But you still are rife with corruption that kind of creeps just under the skin, kind of like little black veins, so through your neck and up to your head, and your eyes are all black. But yeah, you do wake up and you do smell breakfast. So what do?
I'm gonna go get in the chow line.
You get in the chow line, and you do see your compatriots. They're already eating. They've already started eating. But the High Hill clan greets you with a smile. Good morning, Master Daedalus.
Morning.
What would you like? We've got mushroom gumbo, and we've got mushroom gumbo.
I guess it's mushroom gumbo then.
All right, and we'll give you a side of taters as well.
Yay.
So. There you go. Here's an inspiration. All right, so you take the the breakfast plate, and yeah, you join your compatriots. And Barag,
Yay.
you wake up
Another.
and you're just dripping with sweat. The night did not treat you well. You don't know if it was a combination of what happened to Danzin, or it was a fact of that you don't know how or why it happened. You don't know if this had anything to do with Zainda Zane. In the back of your mind, you're also troubled in reference to the, you know that back home there's a civil war going on, that you have not had the opportunity to investigate more.
Yeah.
Your homeland is in turmoil right now. So it's a combination of things that is bothering Barag. But you are up, and the smell of breakfast is the first thing to greet you.
So I'm gonna get up. I call for my armor because, of course, I took that off before I went to bed, so I get full armor.
That makes sense.
So I whisper the words for my armor to gather, Cloud Gafaru, to it, and I want to do this as I walk out of the door of my tent.
Nice.
So I'm just walking out in my trousers, and then I just see everybody's gonna probably see little pieces of my armor fly through the door of the tent.
So literally, as you're walking out, it's almost like in slow motion. All of a sudden, a piece of your armor would fly and attach you, and then another piece, as you're taking each step, it follows your motion and just, and you completely are now armored up. As you walk out of the tent, you catch the sound of somebody calling for, not help, but it's more like a general alarm. It's almost kind of like a yellow alert. It's people are approaching. And they're approaching from the south, the direction that you initially left to go to the gorge to find the crystals. They're actually coming from that direction. So you hear, and all of you hear it as you're eating breakfast, you hear kind of like the village crier and look out. He's like, "We've got people coming! We've got people coming from the south!"
So assuming, not necessarily assuming, but expecting the worst, I just take off in that direction.
Absolutely.
I run over there as well as soon as I hear what's going on.
Okay. Daedalus, what do you do?
I take off after him.
Okay. Terra?
I'm gonna take one spoonful of...
One final bite?
One final bite with the spoon kind of hanging and just start running. Wait for me!
Sure. Wait for me. All right.
I got little legs.
Yeah, you really do. Okay, so as you approach, you do see a small gathering of folk from the southern gate. And not really even a gate, it's just the south of the village. A small gathering of folk from the Alderman Wilster are there to either greet or interrogate whoever is coming. And you only see two newcomers to be exact. Leading the way on horseback, it's a halfling of some years, although not as up in years as your father, Terra. He does have some graying setting in his long braid. His scalp is bald and smooth, and just as Denny, he wears a long, tight braid which wraps in long loops that wrap around his neck and hang loosely from his narrow shoulders. Although heavy and somber, his facial features are still kind of warm and inviting, and you guys are just used to that being the halfling way. At the corners of his eyes are the beginnings of creases in his skin, which no doubt you can surmise are from years of constant laughing and smiling. He wears a simple garb of a monk. It is not lush or extravagant. His feet and hands are adorned with leather wraps, and a string of colorful prayer beads wrap around his neck. He's tattooed from his feet to the very top of his neck in a beautiful script that none of you can understand. He's followed by an elven gentleman. His skin is smooth, like ceramic. There's no blemish, there's no imperfection. He's very elfy. His eyes are wide and azure in color, so bright that they almost seem to glow with just a bit of danger lurking underneath the surface. His blonde hair falls just past his shoulders, and his features remain stone-like in demeanor. He is a man you can assess that is currently driven by an unwavering purpose. His armor is unlike anything that any of you have ever seen. Its texture is actually organic, and it's like a full bodysuit from the top of the neck. It's like chitinous plates of a bug or a beetle. Veins of crimson creep throughout the mottled gray of the armor and pulse, rhythmic and steady, boo, 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 like a heartbeat. He sports 2 blades, the likes of which none of you have ever seen. They're not from dwarves, elves, or men. They're exotic weapons with a bronze hilt and handguard, with tufts of decorated long red hair that cascade from the bottom of the handle. The flat of the blade is about 3 inches where the blade meets the hilt, and actually flares throughout to the tip, to about 6 inches at the tip with a little hook at the end. And slowly they make their way into the village. It's kind of what the sword actually looks like that.
Ooh.
And he's got 2 of them strapped on his back.
This is dope.
And so they walk into the village. What do you guys do?
So I'm gonna greet them, and I greet you. What brings you here?
Hello, halfling. It's the elf who speaks. Come for my boys.
Your boys and
My sons. My name is Erlane Truthbrow. This is my husband, Flinden Truthbrow. And the monk looks at you, and you kind of meet eye to eye, and he just nods his head.
Aye, Rory and Denny, I take it.
Yes, you take it correctly. All of you actually make a perception roll.
Natural 19, modified 23.
Okay.
That's gonna be a 19.
19.
I rolled a 10 plus. I think it might just be a straight 10.
You have plus 0 on your perception?
Well, I have a plus
Mine's 11.
You got perception right there.
Mhm.
3.
Okay, so 13.
Yeah.
So you rolled a 10 plus. Okay, so you all notice it. It's not very, very difficult to notice. Everything that they wear is completely different from one another. They only have one thing in common that they do wear. And they wear a yellow sash off their belt, the both of them. And that's the only thing that you kind of like think is a little weird.
And one is an elf, and the other
Is a halfling.
Is a halfling.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he says, who is in charge of the rescue of my son?
I kind of look back to the rest of the guys, and then I look back at him. I guess we might be. No one's really, I guess, volunteered.
So the monk kind of like steps forward, and he puts his hands behind his back and kind of taps his foot twice, and then you kind of feel like a vibration. And about 3 seconds later, you see Rory come out from the home, and your brother is in tow. He kind of is holding his hand, and your brother has like a long kind of like a stick kind of to guide him. So he comes out, and Dad's. Oh well, I should say it like Rory, Dad. And so he goes running over to his father's, and they all kind of embrace very long and Erlin Truthbrow and his son embrace very hard. You almost see like he's fighting back tears, and Rory's not fighting back tears. You see this you see this large orc, and you just see these tears of joy, of happiness, and then you hear Rory say, "I'm sorry. It's my fault. It was my fault. We got caught." So, and you see him like he's doing everything that he can not to just completely break down and sob. And so the elven gentleman puts his hand on his massive shoulder, and he's like, "Son, it is not your fault. We will get your brother back." So the little monk, Flinden, looks over to Rory. He says, "Roranda, come here so that I may speak to you." And they kind of walk away from the main crowd. The crowd kind of parts, a little confused, especially, and a little taken aback. I mean, not only are these strangers, but these are strangers that come bearing unusual weapons and unusual armor, things that they've never seen. So they kind of part for Rory and Flinden, Truthbrow, to have a private word. And as they do, you see Rory just kind of like he's shaking his head, and he's not argumentative, but it looks like he's almost apologetic. And Flinden, Truthbrow, he puts his hand up just once, and Rory stops immediately. And then you see Flinden just kind of speak to his son, and his son is very attentive. But Elrain looks around and, "So when do we get my son?"
As soon as possible. We need to hopefully leave here as soon as we can.
Miss
Highhill, Terra Highhill.
Terra Highhill. You'll pardon I'm just going to say it. I don't really give a shit about this place. I don't give a shit about the Lorwick Dales. I don't give a shit about the Ashburn Moorings. And I don't give a shit about fighting the good fight. Winning the day or vanquishing evil. You think me cold? Do any of you have children? Do you, pirate? What about you, warrior? What about you, elf? Cleric? Do any of you have a son or a daughter? I'm a hunter of dark things, the darkest, in fact. And as accomplished as my deeds have been, none of them, not a fucking one of them, compares to my most greatest accomplishments. And that is being a father to my 2 sons, building a family with my husband. When Denny was a rambunctious little boy, and he may have told you this story, he had an accident. Maybe he told you the tale, and he finds it very amusing now. But my son was trampled by an animal. Can you imagine that? Running to you is a piece of your soul, your child, panicked, screaming and running. Blood poured from Denny's cracked skull. So much of it flowed from his broken little skull. The fear that grips a father's heart at the sight like that, it defies all description. That being said, try to imagine what me and my husband are going through right now. Who do I speak with? Because I'm going to get my boy.
So his boys are Rory and Danny.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay. So I step forward and is he mounted? Is he?
No, they much like you guys actually had to lead your mounts. So
Okay.
he's on the floor.
So I kind of raise my hand up in a greeting and say, Erlaine, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so say, Erlaine, my name is Talvis. It's good to meet you.
It's good to meet you as well. Let me make a perception roll. Natural 20.
Oh, what does he know about me?
Because are you Valor's Ransom?
That is what we've been
You're a
called.
Talvis. I've heard of you. I've heard tales of your adventures.
Well, it is from the experience of those adventures that I speak. Just keep that in mind.
Who has history as a... you have history?
Wait, no, actually, no, only
As a
in stone
proficiency?
work. No, I
I
don't.
do.
I
You
do
do?
not,
Make a perception roll.
actually. I don't.
A history roll or
History.
History.
What is it?
12.
Okay. I will say this. You know enough to know that the yellow sash that he wears around his off his belt, and the same thing that Flinbin is wearing, are known. Only a select few wear those sashes, and those sashes belong to the Dragon Guard Grey Tops.
Okay. So,
I have mentioned them before.
yes, you have.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
As I'm looking through my notes. So I continue to speak with him. I say, nobody here is captive. Your sons have fought well already. We have all felt the fear that you speak of, whether for ourselves or for our loved ones. But ultimately, it will be up to them whether they leave with you or not. We will not stop them. And I kind of, as I say that, I look around to the party to sort of and kind of nod at them as if to say, right, like we're not
Yeah.
going to stop them. You know.
Well, if that's the case, where's Denny?
Has anybody seen Denny?
Denny's been captured by
Yeah.
Zainda Zane and Groggy
Yeah.
Phoenix.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Oh,
So he's looking at you a little confused.
I'm still like, has anybody
So-
seen
so
Denny?
he's-
No.
Where's my son? Bring me Denny.
I'm afraid your son is not with us.
For a leader of a small militia, you know very few things.
So I understand your consternation at finding this out, but your son left of his own will, and he fought well. I'm sure we intend on finding him as soon as we can.
Don't let me disrupt your breakfast. So he goes over to the local tavern as Flinbin is still speaking with Rory. So what do you guys do?
Let me think. So he went to the tavern, right?
Yeah, simply because it's one of the few buildings that exist in the swamp village. I mean, it's like it's tents and building 1 and building 2. So
Pretty much.
yeah, so he's probably on his way. You can guess to find a village elder or somebody who's kind of more in the know to the comings and goings of the Alden Ulster.
Is Flinbin, the halfling,
Mhm.
is he
Yes.
still present?
Yeah.
there?
He's speaking with Rory.
Okay. So I'm gonna approach him, and I assume he just overheard the conversation that we had.
You're a good distance away,
Oh, okay.
so
So I'll go over to him and raise my hand again in greeting and
sure.
say, pardon my interruption. I just wanted to introduce myself while you remained in the village. I'm Talvis.
So he looks at you and he bows. Hello,
I give a
Talvis.
slight bow in return. I'm afraid I bear the news that your son Denny has been captured.
Oh, we've heard. We've heard. That's why we're here. Denny and Rory are very capable of taking care of themselves. But we heard the worst as far as Denny. And we are not going to let this resolve on its own.
We intend to take action and resolve whatever there is to resolve. We unfortunately don't know everything we need to know yet.
What plans are being formulated? What do you know?
We are forming a small army here We're going to take on Xander Zane as soon as we run into her.
So he kind of looks around the swamp village, and you can guess what his impression is. I mean, a lot of these folks are refugees, and you've got smithies busy, you've got leather workers busy, but these, for the most part, look like farmers. I mean, people who've never really even wielded a sword or a dagger in any sort of military. There are a few. There are a couple, but certainly not an army. So you can kind of guess what he's sussing out as you say that, and he looks around.
I know it doesn't look like much, and it's because it's not. If we had more time on our hands, we would gladly travel the lands and gather everybody we could. But unfortunately, that time is not on our side. So we're doing what we can with what we have. And if we do nothing, well, our fate is assured.
Of the information that you've received from this psychotic Zainda Zane, who provided that information to you? Is there somebody here that we can speak to who knows more of the logistics of what we're dealing with?
You may wish to speak with, was it Terra? You were discerning that with somebody.
That would be. Give me a second. I have her name here somewhere. But the elven woman, the one that we were.
You guys were charting out the.
Yeah.
I even mentioned it. You had breakfast over there.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you guys?
We're all a little tired still. I guess. I'm guessing we're a little tired.
Make a perception roll. Make an investigation roll, because you're looking for a specific piece of information. You're just trying to remember a name.
15.
15. Okay. You believe it's Ulud?
Yeah,
Ulud
Ulud.
Ramir.
Yeah.
Ulud. So, Ulud Ramirez, the woman you would most likely wish to speak to in that case.
Is she a spy or a warrior?
No, she is a, sort of the leader, you might say, of this town.
Scholar.
She's a
scholarly woman.
Yeah, I would say a scholar.
Why don't we have a word with the scholar?
Is Danzin there still?
Yeah. He's standing right next to Rory.
Okay. So I turn to him. Danzin, when you have a moment, anytime today, would you come by and see me at the temple?
So you see his head kind of tilt a little bit and like toward the direction of where you're speaking, and he's like, yeah, Talvis, I'll be there. I can go with you now if you'd like.
Sure. It's as good a time as any.
Okay. So he just kind of puts his hand up for you to kind of guide him.
Okay. So I take his hand and just lead him up the temple steps.
Okay.
Is there anybody inside currently?
Most people have actually vacated because, the strangers that have kind of arrived to the village. So as you kind of go up the little court, there's only like 2 steps, and then you're right into the temple.
Okay.
So,
so I take him into the temple and lead him to where the altar is, and just kind of stand in there and I need you to trust me. This may seem a little odd at first, and so I take out a piece of, I'm just gonna say my common clothes. Because I've already torn a piece off of these at some point.
Sure.
So I'm going to try to tear a strip of cloth out of it. It's a rough kind of strip. And stand behind it. Now I'm going to put something around into your head. Again, I just need you to bear with me for a moment.
So he kind of breathes deep, and he goes, I trust you, Talvis.
And so I wrap the cloth that I just tore around his eyes, and then I'd walk around him, in front of him, and put my hand on one of his shoulders and say a prayer to Hestia and attempt to cast Lesser Restoration.
Sure.
And attempt to cure his blindness.
Sure.
With it.
Sure. Okay, so... Okay. Gotcha. So as you say that the silent prayer to Hestia, you can feel the divine energy pour through you, and you redirect it into this small halfling boy, and it takes. I mean, he's filled with divine energy, but he kind of looks and he's. So, are you done, Talvis?
I believe so. And then I kind of reach behind his head and untie the knot and pull the cloth off of his face.
Sure. So as you pull the cloth over his face, you still see his eyes are completely inked out, like white. Unfortunately, the Lesser Restoration only works on a condition. So it doesn't work on... Like,
Okay.
Yeah. So, in other words, if somebody's permanently paralyzed, you wouldn't be able to cure them with Lesser Restoration.
Okay.
However, if they are paralyzed due to a spell or a condition during battle, then you could.
Okay.
So it's only good. It's only good for conditions.
Right,
You know.
like a mechanical.
Yeah.
condition.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So
But
I
it was a good go.
yeah.
It was a good go. I'll give you an inspiration for thinking out of the box.
Okay,
I like
cool.
it.
Yeah, I was like, I could not try that.
Yeah. No. That was good.
So I just pat him on the shoulder and say, well, perhaps another day.
So, as you feel a little let down, a little disappointed that it didn't go the way you had hoped, you kind of feel his grip tighten a little bit around your arm, and he's like, he tells you, "It's okay, Talvis. It's all right."
So I give him another couple pats on the shoulder in lieu of nodding at him and just lead him back out the temple.
Okay.
Where do you wish to go?
Find Rory.
Sure. And do I see Rory still outside
Yeah,
the temple?
you step outside the temple. You do see Rory, and he's actually headed to Ulu. Yes.
Okay. So I
think
approach-
I'm leading them, right?
Yeah.
To Ulu.
Yeah. So essentially, it'll take a couple of rounds before you actually catch up. But you
Okay.
see them. The village isn't very big. Barag, Daedalus, what are you guys doing?
I'm actually gonna go find Erlang Truthbow, the elf, over at the tavern.
You see him talking to the bartender. It is not Misak.
Ah,
No, I'm sorry. It's not Kasura. It is Misak, rather.
it's Misak.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
And
good.
so he's.
I won't get kicked out.
Yeah.
Thank God.
I want Kasura. That's what Daedalus is thinking.
And I don't want Kasura. I don't want them anywhere near me because association gets me nowhere
Yeah.
right now.
Who knows? So you see him talking to the bartender, and he's like, "Well, I would recommend that you go to our main tent. That's where kind of all the tactical, important people, go to discuss, tactics. But I serve up a mean gator steak, so I'm told." So you see Erlane's facial features go from very stoic and calm, and then just for a second, you kind of see anger flash, and then he's quickly calm again. And he says, "Very well." And he walks out and almost walks right into you as he's on his way out.
Okay. I'm gonna stop him and be like, "May I have a word with you, please?"
Master Dwarf.
Hi, my name is Barag.
Barag.
Hi. I came to speak to you. If you need to know of anything of importance, Duke Neem, the village elder, would be the one to speak to. The leader of the resistance is, well, with your son Denny.
Is this Gryu Phoenix Horn fellow?
Yes, Gryu Phoenix Horn. He's away with Denny when this happened, so...
Yeah. Denny sent me a few ravens about this Gryu Phoenix Horn fellow. I'm not surprised that they are both in the trouble that they're in. He seemed capable. What do you know of this Gryu Phoenix one?
Well, we have a long history with him. He used to be our prisoner, actually.
He was a prisoner.
He was, a prisoner to begin with. I almost ate him, though.
You almost ate him.
Yeah, I almost ate him, and he
Wow.
may have missing a leg because of me.
Ah. All right, Master Dwarf. Thank you very much. He just kind of walked right past you. Yeah. I almost cannibalized him, but you know, I'm a good dude. So
I'm golden.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
okay. I swear.
So he just kind of like walks past you,
Hmm.
and Daedalus, what are you doing?
I really don't know. It's just I'm the guy that's kind of standing around.
He still has his plate of breakfast, and he's just kind of like,
Yeah, I'm just like, there's nothing much we do. He told him about the Elder already.
Okay. I mean, if you ever want to get involved in the planning, the politics, or the important occasions of the village, you just let me know.
You want to join the party?
I'm just gonna assume that you're eating breakfast.
Yeah, it's pretty. I just went back to my food. It's not. I don't know. It's like this. It's like everyone's doing stuff. I'm just kind of the guy that's like.
Well, I mean, you can do stuff. That's why I'm asking you. Is there something that you want to do? No.
And unless there's anyone around I could buy that ink from, which there is not, because I would. Otherwise,
Not currently.
I'd be inscribing spells right now.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
unfortunately, I lack the materials.
You are in the middle of a swamp,
Yeah.
so.
You can use mud. Lots of mud.
No, it's a special ink that he needs.
Oh.
Yeah, very special ink
Yeah.
that we have not had a chance to make it back to town to buy.
Yeah. What's up?
Can I find the Tactus tent? I want to go find the main tent.
Yeah, you know exactly where it is.
Then I
Yeah.
want to join the group that's in there
Okay.
and take a look at what's going on.
Sure. You go there. As you head there, you do see Terra. You see Rory, and you do see Ulud Ramir, and she is speaking to Flinbin.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just asking her questions in reference to Zion Zane and the cult of Talos. Stuff that you guys, for the most part, have already learned.
Yeah.
So I need everybody here to make a perception roll. Daedalus, you're not here though.
Yeah. Everybody else.
That's 20.
Inspiration, that?
18. What was it?
You made it.
Okay.
You're a natural 18?
Yeah, natural 18.
Modified 15.
Okay. So, you catch it. You don't catch it. It's a good roll, but you don't catch it. You catch it though, Barag. You definitely see it. So, as Ulud is sitting in a kind of a rickety chair, and she's talking to Flinbin, you can see maps of the Tappa Desert, maps of like the ruins, the temple, kind of all laid out. You kind of catch a reflection off of a shield in the corner of the tent. The reflection is of Ulud's back, and her shirt, as sweaty as it is clinging right to her skin. And you swear that you see the marking, the tattoo of 3 lightning bolts. You see it. You see it. You're like, oh shit, I know that, and you see it too.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really. I mean, you know what it means.
Yeah. Like fuck.
Okay. So I remain still for the moment.
Mhm.
But how close am I roughly to Ulud and
You're all,
right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a small tent, so everybody's kind of.
Oh, we're in a
Yeah,
tent.
yeah.
Okay.
You're in a tent.
Got it.
So everybody's kind of squeezed into this tent, and Flinbin is just speaking. Rory is taking most of the space in the tent, so he's kind of half in, half out.
So I kind of elbow Barag and Terra Terra didn't see it. Right?
Terra didn't see it. And you don't know whether Barag saw it or not, but you know you saw it. Barag, you know you saw it.
Mm.
So immediately, as soon as you guys see it, you kind of like both look at each other. And
So I lean over to him and just whisper as quietly as I can. Did you see Wood's back? I don't know if my mind's playing tricks on me, but...
It's not playing tricks. I saw it too.
So I turn to Terra and I think we just saw something on Wood. It looked like...
Now you are within a small space.
Okay.
So there's a very good chance that any conversation that you're having vocally is going to be heard by everybody in the tent.
Okay.
I'm gonna look to Talvis and be like, I think we should discuss this elsewhere. I think we need to convene with Daedalus.
So Flimbin, Truthbrow is, well, he looks at you, the three of you, and I think you should all be present. In fact, I think you should bring your elf friend as well.
Alright, you two boys go get Daedalus. I will stay here.
I looked at Terra and be like, Talvis, I think you should go get Daedalus. I'm gonna sit tight here with Terra. Keep an eye on things, see what's going on with our plans to take on Zayan the Zane.
Sure. And so I take one step outside of the tent, just out of eyesight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And do I see Daedalus nearby?
You see Daedalus under a tree, and he's feeding a squirrel some of his breakfast.
Oh my god.
So I'm gonna, he's under the tree.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take out my crossbow.
Uh-huh.
And is he within crossbow range? Is...
Yeah, absolutely within crossbow range.
Okay, so I'm gonna take out my crossbow and just aim like above him on the tree.
Mm-hmm.
Like just try to shoot the tree like you know,
Sure.
5 feet or so above him.
Yeah.
So I'll make that roll.
Please roll one.
Hold on, halfling.
That's a...
No, you're not there.
Oh no, I'm not there.
You're not there.
Juju
So
curse.
yes. So Thomas, you take aim with the crossbow. It's above his head. So you take aim and you got it pretty steady, and then your foot kind of slips on the mud and you pull the trigger accidentally, and it's like in slow motion. You see the bolt come out of the crossbow, and you're like, oh no! And then Daedalus, as he's kind of bending down, feeding the squirrel, you feel it. Ah! Right in your ass, right in your butt cheek. You look back and you've got this crossbow bolt. Roll damage. Double damage, don't forget.
Yes.
The Asbolt strikes again.
Finally, it's not me.
So double what's on the dice?
Yes.
So,
No, you roll 2 dice. So if you were to roll like 1d8,
oh, that's right.
it's double.
That's
the
what
amount.
I did actually.
Right.
I know what I'm thinking. So 9 damage.
So 9 piercing damage. As suddenly, violently, you're struck by this crossbow bolt right in your glute, your left glute.
I'm so glad I'm not there. I'm so glad I chose to stay.
2 down, 1 to go, Talvis.
Let's do it.
Oh,
Get rid of
man.
those ones.
Oh my gosh.
I'm talking about the crossbow bolt.
I know. I don't want to talk about that.
So now there's a Daedalus ass bolt and there's a Barag ass bolt.
Oh, man.
I haven't tried to shoot
So what do you do, Daedalus?
You
You don't know. You may be in the middle of an attack.
I,
You have
can,
no
I,
idea.
can I attempt to duck behind the tent, like still outside, but
Make a stealth check
okay,
with advantage.
okay.
Oh man.
Still, 0 dexterity. So straight 16.
16. Your passive perception is less than that, I believe. So you shoot it, and you see, unfortunately, your target, your aim is not true. And as it flies off, you kind of duck behind the tent and wait, and your bolt does find purchase, but unfortunately not where you wanted it to be. So yeah, Daedalus, you look around and you don't see anybody. You've got this crossbow bolt coming out of your ass.
So I reach around and just I brace myself and I just go.
All right, and you're just bleeding out of the back of your trousers.
So
I'm like looking at the books. Like, is there a name on this?
You know what? Make a perception roll.
Oh shit.
16.
Plus your
So that would be.
just
Nine.
just looking at perception.
It's right there. So it's a 3.
3. Ooh, 19. Modified 19. As soon as you look at it, you know. This is a fucking Talvis bolt. You know, 100%.
Oh my.
So I go out calling out his name. Talvis, where are you? I know this is yours.
So I just like take off like jogging, like towards him though.
Okay, yeah.
Not away from him, towards him, and kind of like a casual jog. Like I just heard him. Oh, I heard my name. You know.
Yeah,
Then
sure.
jog up to him. Hey, I was just looking for you.
I hold up the bolt. I'm like, what's this?
I take it from his hand and kind of inspect it. That's a crossbow bolt.
Yeah, it's your crossbow bolt. Why'd you shoot at me?
My crossbow bolt. So I open my box of like.
Make a deception roll.
This is so good.
Not good. Deception 7.
Okay. Let's make this contested. Make a perception roll.
Oh shit.
7.
Oh, you both suck.
Unless you have a modifier on that.
So
That'd be 10.
10? Okay. As he's talking, like, you kind of think that maybe there's a little bit more to what he's saying, but you're not 100% sure. Go ahead.
So I take out my box like of crossbow bolts, my little container, and flip them open, and I'm just like rifling through. No kidding, there's one of these missing. Somebody must have come into the temple at night and gone through. Probably one of the kids looking to, play war or something.
How would they shoot it?
Well, they must have been practicing. Like I said, they were.
What do they have? They barely have enough as is. You're telling me they magically got a hold of a crossbow.
Do we hear this?
Sounds
Please
like
tell
a
me.
miracle, doesn't it?
No.
Make a perception roll.
I'm inside of 10, so.
20.
20.
Natural 20.
Yeah, you hear it. As a matter of fact, with that roll, you heard Daedalus scream from the other side of the courtyard as soon as he got nailed.
I'm gonna look at Barag and I'm gonna kind of like, did you hear that?
No, cock that. 1 second. No, I don't think I heard that.
No, you're too busy being very intent on this new information that you just
Yeah,
discovered.
no, I did not hear that, Terra.
Wow.
What the hell is
So
going on
you
out
see
there?
Terra's head kind of cocked.
I think I heard a little girl scream outside the tent.
Oh.
I think someone, maybe a little girl's in trouble out there.
Maybe you should go find out what's going on out there then. Because if you're not out there, then that's a problem.
I'm gonna flip them off.
Sure, you flip them off.
As I walk out.
Sure.
Bye!
So you step out of the tent as Flinbin and Rory and Ulud are talking tactics and this time period that you guys have. You walk out and you do see Daedalus and Talvis. Talvis is kind of rifling through his crossbow bolts. He's kind of shaking his head. He's Daedalus is looking a little suspicious.
I'm gonna yell at them. What are you two dots doing out here?
This guy shot me. And I just point at him.
So
That's
And I-
not
and I-
surprising.
And I hold up the crossbow bolt, and he claims it's not him.
Oh, you gave it to him, remember? Yeah. All right, Talvis holds it up. Almost like John Cusack and Say Anything. He's holding up this. Yeah.
So I put my hand on Daedalus' shoulder. Okay, I shot you. I'm sorry. It was all in good faith, I assure you. But I needed to get your attention. And I kind of, as I'm saying this, I kind of look at the wound on his backside.
Sure.
We'll take care of that. Don't worry. I'll find somebody.
Is there a cleric around?
Does anybody know medicine?
Is there a cleric in the house?
I'm just gonna like look at this like just in not complete bewilderment because we all know what happened to Barag with the bolt.
For you, it's kind of old hat. You're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, Talvis shot. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm completely not surprised.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by this.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna. Was there a little girl around here? I heard a scream of some sort.
He shot me in the butt.
Oh, so you're the little girl. Oh, my bad. Continue what you were doing.
Well.
So I'm gonna turn around and go back in the tent.
As all three of you are arguing, you notice a little squirrel with a little bit of mushroom, kind of like looking at the whole conversation back and forth as you guys are going on.
As she turns to leave,
Sure.
to go back to the tent, I say, Terra, can you get Barag out here? We've got 3 of us now. We might as well do it this way.
Alright, well, he's a little too busy. You know how he is.
Well, let me know if you need any help, but we need his presence.
I would suggest you get him. He doesn't listen to me.
Well, you know that he knows what you saw. You both
Right,
looked at each
that's
other and
true.
kind of like confirmed, like.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, are you in the tent though? Because she was.
She was in the tent, but you don't know if she heard, or she saw it, and if she did, she didn't give any indication that she knew.
So.
But the second that you and Barag saw it, you both looked at each other, and then that's when he told you to go find Daedalus.
So, Daedalus, Terra, we might have a bit of a situation. Barag and I both saw something in the tent there on Ulud. I don't know for sure if I saw what I think I saw, but I'm pretty sure I saw it. I'm hoping my mind was playing tricks on me, but it appeared that Ulud had some kind of marking or tattoo on her back that resembled the 3 bolts of Talos. I don't know what this could mean necessarily.
It means we got a spy, dear. That's what that means.
Very well could.
It would explain why Zayn Zane is there, why they didn't light the signal fire, saying that she was leaving. It would explain a lot of conveniency, so to speak.
It also explains why those 2 very experienced spies and agents got kidnapped. That explains why they didn't make it back.
I agree.
She may be passing all this information on.
Give me a few minutes with her. But I need to talk with somebody who might be able to help me with seeing what she really knows. You gotta trust me on this one, boys.
So I turn to Daedalus and kind of nod at him to see what his response is.
Sure.
Alright.
Sure.
So you wish to be alone with her then? When do you plan on doing this?
I need to talk to a few people. Don't worry, I'll get her alone. And we'll get the information we need.
Well, try to find us before you execute this plan. I don't want you to be truly alone, if you know what I mean. If this were to go wrong, we need to be there.
I'm gonna just like pat him like on the back. Hi, I'm not gonna be alone. You don't worry your pretty little face about it. And then I'm just gonna walk back to the tent.
I just turned to Daedalus. I just kind of sighed.
Make it perception. Not perception roll. Make an investigation. No. What would it be? You know what? Let's make this an investigation.
Oh man. 3.
Okay.
I'm saving up those
Yeah,
inspirations.
sure. That's fair. Okay. So what are you guys doing?
I'm gonna actually. Flinbin is in the tent, correct?
Yes.
Flinbin is
Rory,
his name, right?
Ulud,
And Danson, right?
Thupneem is there.
Name.
Danson is just outside the tent. He tends to stay closer to Rory or you know, one of your brothers, or your other brother, Davrick, or your parents, or you, when Rory's not around. So
I'm gonna motion for. I'm gonna say Flinbin and Thupneem. Can I speak to you guys outside?
so Thoop kind of Thoop, you're calling over?
Yeah, Thup
Okay.
and Flinbin.
So yes, Master Dwarf, sure. So she walks out. Flinbin is kind of looks at you and he's like, she's had more information than anybody in this village, so allow me a few more minutes to pick her brain before I go elsewhere.
At this point, am I outside the tent or in there?
I'll say you're back in. The village is small. It's not a big, you know.
I'm gonna turn to Flimbin. We've encountered plenty of Zayn Dazayn, and Barag can attest that we have plenty more information on a personal level. Why don't you go with him? And I'm gonna kind of try and can I persuade him? I'm gonna try. Can I persuade?
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and make a persuasion roll?
What an inspiration that.
How many inspirations do you have? You used 2 already.
Yeah, I have 2 more.
All right.
No,
You know, you max out at 3.
halfling look. Oh, really?
No, you don't have double. You can't do double advantage.
Dang it.
So yeah, he looks at you and he's like, I really, I mean, we have maps here and we have data and we have information and we have a scholar. I'm gonna stay here and see if we can't perhaps devise some sort of advantage. If I can get Denny quickly and quietly, then I will.
I'm gonna turn to Rory. Then Rory, why don't you accompany them? I will stay here with your father and help them out with the maps and such.
So, wow, that was a really high perception roll for him. So he kind of looks at you for a second and, yeah, sure, Terra, I'll go outside. So he steps outside and he's, let's go, Danton, let's leave. So he takes Danton.
I'm gonna look to Rory and be like, Rory, if you don't mind accompanying me and Thupneem, I would appreciate it, please.
He looks at you and he's like, what is going on? I don't understand.
I need to know more details about what went down in the desert.
Zane just, she let me go.
But what happened? Did they come out of nowhere? Ambushed you? What?
We were completely ambushed.
That's all I need to know. Take Danzon and...
It's like they were waiting for us.
I don't like that. Okay.
What does this mean? I don't understand. What's happening?
We were told there's a spy here. There's a spy in our midst.
I don't think there would be anybody who would spy on us. Everybody has something to lose here.
That's the thing. If someone has something to lose that's dire to them, they'll do anything to save it.
Well, it's certainly not me if you're thinking that's how I made it back.
No, I don't think it's you. I just needed to know what happened. The ambush. They knew you were coming.
Yeah, they were waiting for us so much. They waited till we were in a spot we couldn't escape from and they just swarmed us.
I don't like that. I will talk to you some more, but I need to discuss more details with Thupneem right now.
So Thup is hearing all of this. And,
Yeah.
So then there's reason for concern, is what you're saying.
There is... We need to discuss... I saw something in the tent right
What
now.
if the information that we have is wrong?
That's what I'm worried about. I think someone's here. They're feeding information to the enemy and might be misleading us.
So as soon as you say that, all of you hear it. A thunder crack. So loud, you would think everybody in the material plane heard it. And it's headed east. and everybody stops what they're doing.
Away from us or towards us? East, like.
East toward the Tapa Desert.
Okay, towards the desert.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who is in the tent right now? Make a perception roll.
Modify 20.
Modify 20. So, as soon as you hear that thunder crack, for a second, you swear you could see Ulu, like, crack a little bit of a smile out of the corner of her mouth and then just go, like, catch herself.
I'm gonna...
You're the only one who sees it, though. Like, everybody's, like, looking around and kind of frightened by this thunder that kind of appeared out of nowhere, and you see her kind of, like, crack a smile and then just catch it.
Ulud, my dear, are you okay?
I'm a little afraid of lightning, if we're being honest.
Hey, so you smile at fear.
Yeah, well, some people when they get scared react different ways, I suppose.
I'm gonna start walking, like, around the table, like, kind of towards her, but, like, pretending that I'm looking at the maps.
Sure. So she's kind of like, she has her breakfast plate, and she's kind of craning over the map of the ruins as you kind of go behind her.
Can I see the tattoo from behind?
Make a perception roll.
Modify 21.
Modify 21. Yeah, even with her wearing a light garb, the sweat is just plastered that sheer white clothing to her back, and you get a pretty good look at it, and it's definitely the symbol of the Threebolt King.
So I'm gonna go to her right, and it seems I have a few questions for you, dear.
So she kind of smiles and she's like, well, that's what I'm here for.
It seems that I don't know you all that much. How did you come up in this situation here?
Oh, well, you have a lot of time. We can sit and chat like a couple of gals.
Aye.
But I don't think we really have that much time.
You're right. We've
got 8 more days, so.
We don't have much time. So, I'm gonna take my enchanted dagger out and smack it on the table on the map where that cave was that we went to, where the temple.
Mm-hmm.
And can I do an intimidation?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, natural 20.
Natural 20. So the second that you slam the knife down on the table, her beverage of juice just kind of spills over, and she drops her plate and she puts her hands up in the air and she's staring at you for a quick second and she's like, Terra, is everything okay?
Show us your back now.
I don't understand. Why do you want to see my back?
Do it.
So you see her kind of breathe heavy. Maybe we should talk about this somewhere else.
Oh, I'm not gonna talk with you.
So Flinbin, you see him take out a bow staff and kind of like move it in her direction, and he says, do what the young lady says, elf. So she just has her hands up. When did this get like this? I don't understand.
I would suggest you stop asking questions. 'Cause I will look at your back whether you're dead or alive. I think you want to live, don't you?
So she takes off. She does a double dash and she leaves, like she crawls under the tent. I will give you...
Do we see her take off?
You don't. Only Terra does and Flinden. They were the only ones in the tent with you. Thup wasn't even in there either. So I will give you a chance to... I'll give you a reaction to make an attack or a grapple.
I'm gonna make a grapple.
This is a contested strength check.
Okay. Okay. Modified 14.
Wow.
No.
Yeah, 19.
Oh!
She kind of just squirms out of your grip and crawls underneath the tent and takes off. She's doing. She got moving to 60, so she's making it to the edge of the village.
I'm gonna turn to Flimbin. Get Rory. I need to go after her.
So he nods. He takes off.
So I'm gonna double dash to try and.
Sure. So you double dash at 50.
Mhm.
And she double dashes at 60. So as hard as you can, you take off, and she seems to be gaining space, gaining speed.
I'm gonna try and take my crossbow out as soon as I get to my 50 feet and try to shoot at her leg.
Okay, let's roll initiative.
Are we witnessing any of this since she ran outside of
She
the
ran. No, she went underneath the tent. You guys are
She
toward
also-
the front of the tent. They ran out of the back of the tent.
She also ran out of the back of the.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say.
All right. So
18. It was
18?
yeah,
okay.
modified 18.
So yeah, you stop. You don't actually stop. You actually slide in the mud. You take your crossbow out, and then quickly fire off a bolt. Still sliding in the mud, and you hit her right in the leg, and she falls down, sliding into the mud, completely covered. So you manage to stop her.
Okay, so I'm gonna.
Roll damage, by the way.
Oh yeah. 3. Oh, hold on. 3.
Normal people do not have a lot of health.
5.
Fine, okay. So the bolt actually passed completely through and is stuck right in her thigh.
So I'm gonna.
And she's screaming. You just see blood mixed with mud, and she's just screaming in blood-curdling pain.
So I'm gonna go up to her and get the pink fuzzy manacles that I have.
Sure.
That I stole from
She's
Talvis.
like, and she's just screaming. You're crazy, Terra. You're crazy.
So
You tried to kill me.
I did warn you, didn't I? So I'm
Tell me
gonna
about
clasp.
what? I'm helping you.
I'm gonna, as she has the handcuffs on, I'm gonna twist the bolt
A little too tight.
a little too tight.
Oh, the bolt on the handcuffs or the bolt in her leg?
The bolt in her
Oh,
leg.
okay, all right. So you twist the bolt.
I think you're lying.
That's the name of the episode. Twist the bolt. So she screams even louder.
You better tell me the truth.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What is on your back?
I was a slave. I was branded. That's what they do.
I think you're lying.
I'm not lying. I was a slave. I escaped from the Lorwick Dales before it became the Ebru Nova. I was a refugee.
Tell me this for certain.
I was a damn sex slave. That's how they branded us.
Then why were you smiling? How did they know? Tell me and be honest with me
I just got
now.
frightened.
Got frightened?
Yes. Some people scream. Some people cry. I'm intellectual. I know that there's no need to do all that.
Then how is it that our ragtag team of men with high experience are captured?
I don't know. Ask Rory. I wasn't even there.
So at this point, I'm gonna just look at her and clasp the manacles on her.
Sure.
Alright, well, we'll see. Maybe you can talk with our dwarf.
Doesn't matter. I'll see you all in chains when this is through.
Alright, well, look at the one who's in chains now. So I'm dragging her through the mud.
Sure. So you guys, that actually took about 2 rounds. So you see Flimbin run out of the tent, and he looks at all of you who are just kind of like standing in a group, and he's like, "We have trouble."
So I run in that direction.
So as he's kind of leading you, and you guys see Terra, she's caked in mud, and she's dragging Uludermir by your fuzzy pink manacles in the mud, and Uluder's got this wicked crossbow bolt just sticking out of her thigh, and she's screaming and kicking, but Terra's got her in her grip, in a solid grip, and she's dragging her back to the center of the village.
So I run to where they're at and kind of place myself in their path where
Sure.
they're walking. Do you think it's wise to be seen dragging the village elder through the mud?
It's not the village.
Just not the village elder.
It's the scholar.
Is she
The
not?
scholar.
Scholar.
Thupneem is
No.
the scholar.
Thupneem is the
Is-
scholar.
is not-
Uludermir
Thupneem
No.
is
The
the elder.
Uludermir is the scholar, and
Yeah.
Thupneem is the elder.
Uludermir's the one that we saw with the 3 bolts on her back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got the scholar.
So we got the scholar, the elven
Yeah.
scholar.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's having name difficulties.
Yes.
today.
Yeah.
I'm organizing my notes. Believe me. Nonetheless, do you think it would be wise to be seen dragging any citizen of this village through the mud? You saw what happened when I tried to do that to the bartender. We may lose loyalty and morale just when we need it the most.
So I'm going to kind of look at him, and then I'm going to look back at her. And at this point, Thupneem and all of them.
Yeah. Thupneem is following behind at a speed that an elderly woman can.
So I'm going
And
to...
Uludermir is just screaming at you. She is crazy. She is psychotic.
So I'm going to kind of like smirk, but as like basically people are crowding, I'm going to just cut the top of the shirt where you see the 3 bolts.
Sure.
And so then it's like, now it's fully visible.
Yeah, so everybody sees, and you hear a few gasps as you know the symbol of the 3-bolt king is emblazoned on her back, and people see it for the first time. They're almost taken aback, and you know, hand in hand with that thunderbolt, it's frightening, and so you hear a few gasps, and even Thup is like, oh my god, what does this mean? What does this mean?
So I'm gonna turn to her, and it means that our men got captured. It means that the bad luck we've been having, Grayu, Denny, is because somebody was feeding information.
So Flynnbin looking very, very serious, along with Elrain, Erlane rather, who kind of catches up to the rest of you and has his swords drawn. He says, well, it is simple then. We find out what she knows. And we use it to our advantage.
Hey,
Her spy will be our spy.
Can we tell how like old or new the symbol is on her back?
Make an investigation roll.
I can do it with... Oh, hold on. Yeah, no, I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll give advantage there. 'Cause I'm
You're
looking.
both looking?
Yeah.
You're just kind of like talking at it. Okay. Allow that.
So modified 19 for the first one. Natural 20.
Natural 20. So, as you're both looking at the ink work, dwarves often tattoo themselves, especially with symbols of rank, wars that they've been in, veteran status, things like that, even their family. Terra, you are, tattooing is kind of old hat for you. You're a pirate. And pretty much when you're not drinking, you're either tattooing somebody or getting tattooed. So, it's old. It's probably about 5 years old.
Okay.
It's older than when Zion Dezane had taken the Lorwick Daedalus.
I'm gonna look to the rest of the group and to Barag, and why don't we have a little chat with our scholar here, don't you think, boys?
So Thupneem says, you're not going to hurt her, are you?
Whatever we gotta do to get information.
We have to be better than Zion Dezane.
We're not gonna kill her if that's what you're asking.
why don't we just find out how much of the information that we have is actual information?
Well, we have a former war general. He might be able to help us with that.
We will talk to her.
Not investigation. Make a Talvis. Make a religion check.
I was rolling like garbage so far. That's gonna be a 6.
Okay. It's a good day to pray. That's really all I can tell
Just
you.
getting them all out of the way.
Yeah. Sure. That's fair. All right. So, what do you guys do?
So I'm actually gonna turn to the men and to the group and just, boys, actually, I have a better idea. Thupneem is right. We need make sure this information's correct.
So,
Why don't you guys go along? Maybe Flynn, Elwyn, why don't you come with me? We won't be long, boys, I promise. So I'm gonna start dragging her, kind of like towards the outskirts.
So he kind of crooks his head a little bit to the side and looks at you and he says, "Curious," and he just kind of follows you. He has his staff out.
So I'm gonna start heading towards the outskirts.
Okay, so she's screaming at you at the top of her lungs. She's like, "I'm not telling you shit until you take these manacles off. I've done nothing wrong. I've only helped you. I've only helped the Phoenix Rising, or the Bright Rising Rebellion. How can you do this to me?"
So as she's basically on a tirade, I'm going,
Sure. Okay. So, Flint Truthbrow kind of looks at you and he's like, Flynn rather, kind of looks at you and he's, "What is your objective?"
I need information. And I cannot do this out in the village square.
What are you going to do?
So to speak, I guess you can say I will get information forcibly. But your son's the one that's captured, yes?
That's true, yes.
Maybe you can reason with her before I have to reason with her. Maybe a parent's insight can shed some light onto her.
Sure.
If she doesn't cooperate, well, I'll make her cooperate.
Talvis, look in your inventory. This is the one gimme. This has been bothering the hell out of me from the beginning for about the past half hour.
The Heart of Hestia.
Take a look at your inventory.
Yeah, no, I knew exactly.
Okay.
As soon as you said it, I knew what you were talking about.
Okay,
But
alright.
it wasn't really. I didn't feel like it was the right
Sure.
moment.
Okay, alright, cool.
But you're absolutely right.
Yeah. All right. So he says, "I will try and reason with her as best as I can."
Hey, well, I'm hoping you can. I'm not normally one to resort to this kind of violence, but if she cannot be convinced by you, bring me my boys. They'll help.
Are we near them, or they walk
No,
away?
they
walk away.
Yeah. they walk
Okay.
away.
Okay.
So you're leaving the village, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
We're just like on the outskirts.
Yeah. So as you head to the outskirts of the village, you see that familiar, large, dark shape kind of off in the distance. You just kind of see like glowing yellow ember eyes kind of looking at you as a half ogre rather. Kind of takes a mild interest and then turns around and continues on his way. So yeah, you're outside the
So
village proper.
I'm gonna kind of like throw her towards like a tree stump with, because she's handcuffed and all.
Sure.
I would suggest you listen to this man, or else we're gonna do things my way. And I'm gonna just sit across on the other side of the tree while sharpening my daggers.
So she just stares at you. I'm not scared of you, Terra. And as she says that, you can kind of hear a quiver in her voice that tells you she's terrified of you. And she's like, I'm not telling you anything. So Flenbin kind of looks at her and he goes, my child is there. And so for a second, she kind of loses control and she says, I don't give a shit about your child. So you see Flenbin kind of, you think he would react instinctively with the bow staff to the face. But he's calm and he's collected. And he just says, very well. And then he just kind of looks at you and then goes right back to the village.
We saw them where they
Yeah.
walked away to, right?
Yeah.
So I'd like to make my way in that direction, try to find them.
Sure. What are you going to do?
So, I did tell you we could have done this the easy way. So I'm going to take my Frostbrand dagger out. Because it is probably freezing cold to the touch.
Yeah. You could see all the cold air just like streaming off. It's almost like dry ice and water. As soon as you take it out of the scabbard, all of this cold mist comes out of your blade.
And so I go up to her and kind of like bend down to where the crossbow bolt is. Tell me everything that you know.
So you rolled that nat 20 on the intimidation check earlier. So she kind of looks down and then looks back up and she smiles and she says, it's too late for you, for all of you.
I'm going to pull the crossbow bolt out, and then I'm going to insert the tip of the Frostbrand dagger into the wound.
Okay.
So then it
Roll
starts
damage.
freezing.
Roll damage.
Oh no, duh. Yeah. And then it's +2. So 1. Oh, and then the freezing damage. 1. So 1 for cold damage, and then 3 for regular.
Okay. So as you're going out to the edge of the swamp, you hear screaming as you get closer. As she screams at the top right, she just passes out.
Yeah, I did warn her. So I'm going to pull the dagger out and put it back into the hilt and sit until she wakes up again to probably repeat the process.
Okay. So you're sitting, and as you walk up, you see an unconscious Uludramir just laying almost spread eagle on the floor in the mud, and you see Terra just kind of leaning against a tree with her dagger out.
So I just walk up and look down at Thupneem. Good grief.
And Ulud.
Ulud. Sorry. Ulud. Thupneem is the one I revivified, right?
No.
That was Ulud.
So if that hadn't happened, we might find ourselves in a less treasonous situation. Anyway, so
Thanks, Talvis.
So I approach her and look down. Good grief! Did you find anything out from her?
I was hoping to do this the easy way, but she's stupid. So, what do you think?
Well, she certainly can't tell us anything like that.
All I know, my dear, is that tattoo of hers is longer than Zion Dazane has been in the Nordwick Dales. That's a fact. I have plenty of tattoos myself. That has got to be at least minimum 5 years. She's been with them for a while. She knows.
Seems quite likely at this point, but try not to operate in absolutes anymore. So let's wait until she wakes up and...
Is there any way that you might wake her up, my dear?
No, as you guys are talking, you see her begin to stir again. Consciousness. She's regaining consciousness.
So,
Daedalus, what are you doing this whole time?
Feeding squirrels.
Still eating.
Well, he's got an extra hole in his ass, so
Yeah.
I'm kind of wondering what he's doing about that.
So I'm gonna go and seek out where they went.
Okay. All right.
Hopefully to get my wound healed.
Okay.
Last thing you need is
He's
mud in
strictly going there to get his wound healed.
My butt's still bleeding
Yeah,
here.
and then
We
go
didn't
right back
solve
to
that.
And just to see what happened and
Sure. Well,
if they're gonna scrape anything out of her.
at this point, you don't really know what the heck happened. You saw people running everywhere.
He's over here eating.
Yeah, Uludamir is screaming. Terra may have stabbed her. You don't know.
You know how I like stabbing things.
Yeah.
I'm also going to
Stabby,
join
stabby.
in going over to
So
the outskirts of the village.
Yeah, we're
We're
gonna
also
go.
headed that way.
So he and I are gonna go find
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right, so
Let's go find the action.
her. Yep.
okay, so it'll be a couple of rounds before you catch up with Terra and Talvis and Terra. So she begins coming to.
So I kind of kneel down, kind of so I'm eye to eye with her, and I place Hearth of Hestia in one-handed form, kind of down in front of her, and just kind of put my hand on top of it, and cast Zone of Truth.
Sure.
And this should get her because it's 15 feet.
Yeah, it does.
And
Gets everybody in the 15-foot radius.
so,
Talvis.
how you and Rory. So, just
We're not there.
Compelled to answer.
it does say guards against deception, centered on that point.
I'm not really bound to answer that
It's
question,
a-
right?
Yeah.
No, you are.
I am?
Yeah. You have to make a DC save, right?
It's a charisma save.
Charisma save.
Come on, man.
That's 15.
She fails.
Okay, cool.
So you.
I failed.
Okay. So you extend the Hearth of Hestia, or you keep it in the
I
one-handed
keep it in one-handed form and just kind of turn it over and put it down in front of her, sort of using that to channel the spell.
And as soon as you do that, the hearth illuminates with fire, with radiant fire. And you cast your spell, you see this energy just kind of dissipate from the weapon and explode out. So ask your questions.
So it does say, and I'm saying this for Terra's sake as well, it does say that a creature can't speak a deliberate lie while in the radius. An affected creature is aware of the spell and thus can avoid answering questions to which it would normally respond with a lie. Such a creature can be evasive in its answers as long as it remains within the boundaries of the truth. So you can be kind of dodgy,
Right.
you know. Okay.
So think of this as Wonder Woman's lasso of truth.
Oh.
So I kind of look up at Terra for a second and just kind of grin a little bit, and then back at
What the hell did you do, Talvis? What the hell did that thing do?
oh, we'll see. And I look back at Ulud,
Sure.
and I meet her eyes directly.
So
Now,
she's looking around confused. She knows you cast something, but she doesn't know what it was.
what is your relationship to the cult of Talos?
I'm a follower of Zayn Zayn. And then she just puts her hand over her mouth. And her eyes get big.
Hold her hands with the fuzzy manacles.
So I take her hand gently and kind of put it aside. There's no use in that. Now, what have you told Zionda's forces? What information have you given them?
What do you think I gave to them?
I'm asking you. I know what I think. I want to know what you know.
I told her everything. The ceremony's already begun.
Do we...
If you leave right now, you might be able to catch the end of it. And she smiles. And she says, she still loves you, you know.
How much time do we truly have?
Did you hear the thunder? His ascension has begun.
So I turn to Terra, and I'm pretty sure I have to be the one to ask the questions. I'm not positive on that, but
Come on, man.
But no, I'm assuming the worst now.
I'm always assuming the worst with Talvis.
Oh, it doesn't say that actually. It just says they can't speak.
No, it just says that they can't. Yeah.
Um,
So anybody's compelled to tell the truth in the zone of truth.
and Terra's there, and
So now you see Barag and Daedalus kind of walk up.
okay, it appears our worst fears are true. She's an agent of Talos. Now,
Fucking knew it.
I discovered that, and I discovered that we have very little time until the ceremony is complete and Talos walks the earth. But is there anything anybody would like to ask before we deal with her?
We should ask, what did they have in store for us? What is waiting at?
How many troops are there?
How many troops? Any traps? Does she know?
And so I look back to now. What do you know of Zayanda's preparations?
She doesn't tell me militarily what's going to happen. I only feed her information. She keeps everything on a need-to-know basis, and that's just something I don't need to know.
Is there anybody else in the village that is an agent of Talos or is helping you in any way?
No.
What do you guys think?
Can I kill her?
No, I've got a better idea. Why don't you boys head back to the village? I think I know what we can do with her. And so I'm going to just kind of lift them by the manacles and start dragging her
Dragging
deeper
her where?
into the...
Are you dragging her outside of the 15-foot zone?
The zone of truth.
Oh. I'm going to look back at them before I go to walk off. And anything else you want to ask? We may not see her for a while.
Yes, actually, yeah. What's the deal with you and Rory?
Son of a... So I actually do say that. I have a crush on him. And I start covering my mouth. God damn it!
So
What
you're
the hell was that?
You're completely surprised. You didn't even expect it to come out of your mouth, but sure enough, blah blah blah, it just came out.
And I'm going to pretend. I'm going to make a show of like making sure they know I'm pretending to like I'm writing down information
Sure.
on a piece of paper or something like that.
A little parchment.
Yes, I'll put that one away.
I'm gonna look at
inspiration, sir.
I'm gonna look at Talvis. If I didn't swear a life oath to you, you would be dead by now.
You take an inspiration as well.
Now, last thing I will say is I would like my manacles back.
Once I'm done with her, I promise I will give you your manacles back.
And she's telling the truth.
Okay, cool. Oh, so that's fair enough.
I'll even clean them up from the mud.
Very kind. Although I
And
maybe
probably
for the
the
color
blood.
of the mud, I'm not sure. But,
What, you don't like hot pink?
like isn't the word for it, but it's better than having no manacles, I guess.
Right,
You
it's
never know when
true.
you need them.
Yeah, that's right.
I wonder what she's thinking at this point. Like, they're talking about manacles as
She
if...
has no idea what's going on. She's just as confused. She did not expect to kind of spill her guts, but sure enough, yeah, she told everything that she wasn't supposed to.
Is Thupneem present? The elder?
No.
Not. Just.
There's kind of a crowd just at the outskirts of the village. Thupneem is there. So is Erlane and Flinbin, Rory. Even the High Hills are there. All just kind of like waiting apprehensively. They don't hear any screams, so that's good, I guess.
In fact, I walk up to Terra and say, just remember that whatever you do to her or with her, we'll get back to the villagers, and they take a very low opinion of violence.
Oh,
We
don't
want them
worry.
on our side.
Don't worry. And I'm gonna pat his back. I'm not going to kill her. And then I'm just gonna start
So-
dragging her.
So she, still within the zone of truth, says, I don't care if you do it. Because the more time you're here with me, she just kind of smiles.
Don't worry. This will be quick. So I'm gonna
I
start
dropped
heading
the spell.
into. I'm gonna start heading to the
no.
half
No.
ogre.
She's leaving.
God damn you.
I asked everybody like 2 or 3
I've been
times.
waiting to try to get a word in. You fucking suck.
Speak up.
Speak up!
I've been trying.
Interrupt if you have
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
Yeah,
You
interrupt.
fucking suck. That's all I gotta say.
So you just see the magic divine energy kind of dissipate in the area,
Damn
and
you.
then you see Barag just kind of get completely deflated. So what are you guys doing?
So I'm heading towards the half ogre,
Sure.
and I'm gonna get like some rope out from my pack and tie her arms around her wrists and take the manacles off and put them back into my pack, but have the rope tight enough for her so that then she can't get out.
Okay. Make a sleight of hand check.
Modified 23.
Ooh. All right. So as you take the manacles off, she tries to actually escape, but quickly you were able to secure her with the rope. You definitely beat her sleight of hand check. All right. So so you tie her. She's like, I don't care. You can kill me if you want.
Don't worry, my dear. I'm not gonna kill you, but the stuff out there will.
So there's no reaction.
Hey, big guy. And I'm gonna turn to the half ogre.
So he kind of looks over to you. You see his piercing yellow eyes through the fog of the swamp. His huge 12-foot frame kind of like lumbered towards your direction.
Mind doing me a favor, lad? I know you protect on the outskirts. Make sure this bitch don't come back into the village.
So he kind of looks at you, then looks at her, and looks at you again.
I will take that as a yes. Thank you, lad. So, I'm gonna turn to Ulud. If I ever see you again, I will fucking kill you. The only reason why I'm not is because the villagers don't take kind.
So she goes, you think I won't escape? You don't think I won't make it out of this alive?
I don't.
You think this big dummy is going to keep me here? So he kind of looks down at her and he puts his foot on the rope that's on the floor and smiles at her.
Oh, I wouldn't call him that. I think this fine lad can do this job perfectly well.
So she goes, don't worry. I'll get out of here. I'll see you very soon, I'm sure.
Oh, I hope you do, so I can slit your throat. But I can't do that here. Not in front of the villagers, and quite frankly, too many witnesses.
It's okay. You're all fodder for the machine. Talos will be here. Can you imagine an actual god? The intellectual part of me relishes being able to see
So as
a divine being.
So as she's going on a rant, I'm gonna try and knock her in the head.
Sure, make an attack roll.
13.
That hits.
Modified.
Roll damage.
And it's like with the butt end of the dagger.
Non-lethal damage.
Yeah.
Sure.
2.
Okay. So you crack her right in the head with the dagger. As you kind of do like an alley-oop upper because she's a little bit taller, and you hit her in the side of the head, and she just falls into the mud. What do you do?
So I'm gonna turn to the half ogre. Thank you, lad. You do me a good service. So I'm gonna just drag her and just kind of like throw her out into the swamp.
Well, she's already in the swamp.
Yeah, I mean like further in. I'm just
Further
gonna
in?
like
Okay.
so she doesn't so she can't get back into the village, and he can keep a good eye on her. And
Okay.
he's
He's on the outskirts. He doesn't
Yeah.
go into the.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw her like kind of past the outskirts.
He doesn't go past the outskirts.
Mhm.
He stays within the outskirts of the.
Oh,
village.
okay, yeah, I'm gonna do that then.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, what are you guys doing?
So noticing Barag's kind of being a little twisted up.
Yeah.
I turn what's wrong?
I figured I should have asked a question to our friend Daedalus over here, but you dropped the damn spell too fucking quick.
Oh, what do you wish to ask them? And I just
So Daedalus said they're whispering very loudly. None too spy-like
I
about you in front of you.
I think
You guys are making bad spies.
I think he hears us.
Yeah. Just a little.
I think Daedalus has only shown good intentions so far. Maybe he will tell you the truth anyway.
Well, I don't know about that.
Fair enough.
I'm kind of scared.
No
to
response
ask
from
him.
Daedalus.
I'm about to turn to him like see his teeth and stuff and blacked out eyes. Perhaps you're right. And then I'll walk in the direction of the rest of the villagers.
Okay.
I'm gonna head back towards the village, and I want to start like almost rallying everybody to begin heading towards the desert.
Okay. So as you guys head to the outskirts of the village, you hear another crack of thunder.
Shit.
And it feels like it just shakes the earth, and off in the distance, you see dark clouds start to form, which is unusual over a desert, but they begin to form.